This is going to be a video about kids' reading choices and how we can assess their interests so that they can choose books that they are going to be interested in reading. This is an important approach to teaching reading because we know that kids' reading abilities are strongly impacted by their background knowledge and interest. That is, whether or not they've turned on the area of their brain that is thinking, I want to know about this, I want to be able to do this. Kids are more likely to solve problems and figure out how reading works if they're actually engaged in this way. And so it's important for us to assess kids' reading interests. So the first thing that you'll see here is a paper and pencil reading inventory, and this paper pencil reading inventory is it actually depends on kids being able to read it or on you reading the survey to them. What we've found with many primary grades kids is they just don't understand these terms. So there are genre terms and format terms, things like graphic novel, poetry, informational, blah blah blah, that they just don't know what those things are yet. And especially for struggling readers, they're not deep book culture type people yet, and so we have to show them what these things mean. What we found in giving these paper pencil inventories is that it took us weeks to actually narrow down what the kids actually wanted. The kids and teachers would fill in these forms together. The teachers would tabulate the data on an Excel spreadsheet. They'd go get the books at a public library and from the school library to meet the kids' needs, and they'd bring them in, and the kids would say, well, where's the books about alligators? And the teacher would say, but you said you wanted poetry. And the kid would say, well, that's what I meant when I said poetry. So there was a lot of slippage in what meaning was being gathered in the interest inventory. So the next thing we did was we moved to a visual interest inventory where we knew that kids could actually choose the kinds of books that are out there that they've seen in the library and so on. So you can see this interest inventory is completely different. Rather than being paper pencil, we've got the books in categories, and we can tell the kids, if they're not already strong readers, these are the scary books, these are the funny books, these are the classics, these are the comics and graphic novels, these are the historical fiction, these are the fact books, that type of thing. So, what we did with this is we printed it out poster size on 11 by 17 paper. And on that large paper, we then laminate it and can use this as an assessment tool. So kids can bring a pad of sticky notes or a dry erase marker. And when they've finished marking their choices, things they'd like to see more of, then we snap a picture of it with our phone, and then we have a record for each kid which type of books they're more interested in seeing next. What we found over time, though, was that even this is still a little bit abstract, and that we had much, much better experiences when we took that idea of the big array of books off of the poster and just put it out on a table. So when we had several picnic tables out in the parking lot of the neighborhood we were working in, and let kids put sticky notes with their name on it onto the actual books that they saw on the table, we had great response. And what you can see as well is that we took the poster and printed it out large size, and kids could actually deal with the poster as well at the same time, so giving them both media to choose from. We did find that by and large that the kids mostly just wanted to put their sticky notes on the books. So the poster, I think, is probably a better approach to things if you've already done a hands-on, touch the books sort of book buffet like you see here. And this is what we started calling it, was the book buffet, rather than calling it an interest inventory. It's like, since teachers are already talking about doing book tastings, we would really like to throw out this idea that every now and again, kids need to see everything there is, all the kinds of books, and browse through them and try some on, see what they feel like, and move from book to book. So we've done this in a number of different situations where we've spread a lot of different books out on the table or out on the floor. And this is a community reading program, and I, after teaching this in our master's classes, had people talk to me about what it was like to implement it in the classroom. And one of my favorite pictures that we see here is from Jennifer Gregory in Milliken, and she finished the program just a little over a year ago, and she took the idea of an interest inventory and turned it into a book walk. She laid out the books in a path that the kids were supposed to follow, kind of like walking through a corn maze or something like that. And the kids walked around, looked at all of the books that were on the floor, and just the looks on the kids' faces demonstrate some of the engagement that Jen experienced. That she was able to say fairly confidently that she had identified the books that the kids actually wanted. Now what do? In most cases, you're going to have to go to the public library to meet these needs, because the kids that you're working with want these books. You'll find that there's only one copy in your school library, and it's constantly checked out, and you can't bring it in and sit on it for several weeks to make sure all of your kids get a chance to cycle through it. So we're finding that teachers need to go and establish a partnership with a public librarian who is interested in helping her find all of these different kinds of books. And our experience so far with talking to teachers about this is that public librarians are thrilled when teachers come in and make these kinds of requests, because you're using that librarian's expertise. Can you help me find more scary books that are, between second and third grade level? Teachers are going to be able to make those asks, and librarians are going to be able to fill those demands. So I'm encouraging you in your tutoring, in the work that you do, and even in your classroom, to apply this principle, because kids who need books that they will choose to read, and they need to see a lot of books to be able to know what they actually want. We're bringing them that idea of book culture, and that there's a lot of stuff out there. Many kids in middle school tell us that they didn't become readers until they actually found the thing that was sort of the magic bullet for them. And we can't leave that up to chance, can we? We really can't. This is teaching. When we get prepared, when we put the books out there, we're teaching the kids. This is a good way to find books. So I encourage you to do this in your first meeting with your student. Bring in a big sampler platter of all of the different kinds of books. If you're meeting with one kid, maybe this looks like 15 to 20 books, or maybe a little more than 20, so you can have 2 copies of each of the different kinds of books you imagine kids might like. But make sure you have enough there that they feel like they're sampling a little bit of everything that's out there. All right, talk to you soon.